All right, there. So for some reason, when I was thinking about today's show, you know about the 108 tools, skills, and strategies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but that came up strongly in my mind.
Okay.
And so I was thinking of maybe taking a look at them, seeing if anything sparks a discussion or whatever.
Okay.
Also, I have some slideshow story demonstration things that might tie into them, and some other things like that. So,
Okay.
But before I do that, I wanted to ask you, because I was wondering about this. Have I sent the latest training to you?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe not too, and I want to do that
Okay.
because I'd like you to see it, and anyway, take it from there.
Okay, I'll take a look when I see it.
Okay, I'll do it after the show.
Okay.
Okay, then let's do this. Okay. We'll start with this one. I found like 3 major versions of this 108. I'll screen share. Okay. This was like the second version. The first version was just the listing. This was I've used this for the results of using the one rule, because they're the same kind of results. It's just that the one rule is so much clearer in terms of what to do. So okay. Now, one thing when I was creating this, I remembered that some of the things I didn't put in the category of a tool or a skill or a strategy. And when I'm thinking tool, it's like a hammer is a tool. It's like something that you have as you can use it. And a skill is that you know how to use it, maybe several ways to use it.
Right.
And for me, I'm just to make this clear. And strategy is when to use it and how to use it in combination with other things, right? That
How
makes
you go
sense,
about
right?
it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, good. Well, when I was going through these, I felt like some of these they didn't fit in those categories for me. But they, and so what I put them in was a category of result. So I would say, like, using the one rule can give you these results. And there are a few that are scattered through this. The first is, I call it the missing foundation of parenting. That
You would use these tools and create a strategy like a carpenter knows he has a job to do. So he would get his supplies ready. He would get the tools he needs for that day. And now you're looking to see outcome, that
yeah,
the issue that you're tackling will get resolved by using these strategies and these tools. You're
right,
identifying the work. Okay.
right. And this, the first one, it says ensures that kids always feel loved. When you use the one rule, they feel loved because they are loved, but they don't always feel loved because of the actual ways of interacting. And I learned this a long time ago because there was a young woman who had a 2-year-old, and she got a copy of my book. And she, at some point, convinced her mother to get a copy of my book. And her mother lived like on the East Coast. And her younger sister was still living at home. She was a teenager. And I got a letter from the young woman. Well, actually, what happened was I let her have a book and she could pay me when she had the money. That's what happened. So when she sent the money, she also sent a letter saying that because her mother got this book and started using it, the book you have, actually, yeah, that one. Her sister had been in therapy for a long time. And she said because her sister finally felt loved, she didn't have to go to therapy anymore. And when I was thinking about this, I thought, wow, so this ensures that the kids feel loved, and that is not feeling loved can cause a lot of problems. And
Right.
yeah, so I mean, really a lot. And so
Sure.
that this has the ability, and I think the one rule even more so, because it's so simple and so clear and so, like, there's it's a serious foundation, it's like
I can relate in a way. My 4-year-old granddaughter has a little stomach virus, so she's home from school, right?
yeah,
So she's not saying much. Usually she's all happy and asking me to do things with her. And lately she's just been kind of sitting around upset. But her mama keeps coming and asking her to try to eat and take medicine and do stuff. But with me, she just looks at me and kind of winks, and she just knows that I'm there for her. She just knows
Nice.
that she has love. She knows her mom wants to help her. And I'm not saying much. I'm just letting her mom ride it. And but I welcome her to come in like to my room and sit with me, and I just rub her feet, and she just looks at me
Nice.
like she knows that I love her. She just,
Yeah.
which the outcome there is that she knows that we feel for her and we want her to get better, and we're doing everything we can. And I went to bed last night thinking, I'm glad she knows that, even at that age. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
for
something that's
sure.
already established. She didn't have to get sick to see that we care for her, and she already knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds good. Um, okay, so that was the first thing in this 108. The 108 came about because I was preparing for a meeting with the Women's Federation for World Peace, the chapter in Las Vegas. We were going to have a meeting. It was the first time I'd ever been to one of their meetings. And I knew about the tools, skills, and strategies had come to me a long time ago, but I never went through all my work and wrote them all out. And so that's what I did for preparing for the meeting. And so that's what this is. Okay, the other thing the second thing was a safety net. And I think the one rule works even better than the power of respect, just because of the clarity in terms of action. And the safety net is that if you follow the one rule, it's going to make sure that this, what I call at one point a bridge between the hearts, it's going to make sure that the child still feels loved, because you're going to follow, that's your guideline. That's you can rely on this. It's going to help bring about the best in a situation between people. So even if, like this says, help support parents during stressful times. So that's why I called it a safety net. And a fail safe. I looked this up at one point, fail safe, but I'm not sure that I remember it exactly now. I guess I'd have to look it up to be really clear, but that it seems that a fail safe. I know, do you know the definition of fail safe?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're looking for there.
Well, I know, like, from what I'm seeing, that it means it won't let you down. But I'd have to go into Google and anyway, so, but that is a result. It's not going to
Okay.
let you down. You do
Okay.
it, it's going to give you this is where the idea of empowering the parents and the children at the same time, that's what it's going to do. Now, the next thing is the fourth is to think respect about yourself, your kids, and others. And this is a skill. I put it in the category of a skill. So that when you think about yourself or your kids or other people, you think respectful thoughts. Because this was and the thing with the one rule is that you don't have to be aware of any of these 108. You just follow the rule and it takes care of those things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're aware of all these things, it can be helpful. It can definitely be helpful. And when I think in terms of certifying people, even then there's a degree, there's levels of that. There's like the basic level is learning the one rule because it covers all of this. But there's also the possibility to learn all of these. That was, I'm gonna pull up another one of these. Let's see. I wonder if this is it. No, it's not. Oh, I think that might be it down there. Anyway, there's one, and I must have begun it for certification because, let's see. Okay. I'm going to see if this is it. Yeah, it is.
There you go.
Yeah. So that in this one, I haven't finished this, but I have started it. And it was thinking in terms of certification, information that if people want to be able to be certified in this, not that you have to use the one rule, right? It's something
Right.
people are already using. But if somebody wants to be certified and learn all this stuff, they can. That's I want to make available. So, okay, let's see. I'm gonna go back to the other one. I think it was easier. So thinking respect, or as I say, with the one rule, you don't have to think those things, but it's helpful. It's helpful. Speaking respect, acting respect, that goes through number 6. And find what works for all and keep this in mind. And this is a strategy. And really, I would say the one rule is the result, because all of this came before the one rule, long before. So, but I think that the one rule is pretty much that. Find what works for all, you know. Another,
like you said, these are just tools that you could go into a toolbox and pick any one of these numbers and then make a plan to use, like number 10, positive respect mindset. If you want to just work on that as a project, something
Right.
that you wanted to get more powerful in, you could use just that one to work on to get to the outcome that you're looking for.
Right. You could. Yep. Yeah.
I was
And
I was I was reading over one of your scenarios in your book about a kid that was playing with her dolls, but mama had to go to the airport to pick up an uncle. And then I went to the possible ways that you were handling it and how you pulled it off, and it was totally respecting the child, and you were showing love for the uncle, that you were honored to be asked to go to the airport to get that person. You remember what I'm
yeah,
talking about?
yeah,
Yeah. So a lot of these things, I could pull these out of there if I had to analyze that scenario and how you handled it. And then it
yeah.
made me think of some ways that I might have handled it my way and still got the same outcome,
Right.
but without disrespecting the kid,
Exactly.
or without disrespecting the uncle by not showing up when you said
Right.
you would pick them up. You had a lot of things going there, but everybody had to win. There was a lot of people involved, and you needed to use a
Right.
lot of these tools to get to everything done that you wanted to get done.
Yep.
You had somehow convinced the child that it's a good thing to go pick up the uncle, that we love him and we want to go get him, and he's going to come visit us. But I just want to stay home and play with my dolls. Well, you had to find a way to get around that. And the way that you picked was they brought some dolls with them in the car. So she didn't necessarily have to give up what she was doing, but you took that with her. And I was thinking of, other ways that could have been handled, but the way you handled
Right.
it worked for you. That was good. And you
Yeah.
were polite, you were respectful. You showed us a lot of language that needed to be used for the kid to respond to you rather than react negatively. And it worked out.
Yeah. I I recently sent the um the stories that I'm putting together, that
Mhm.
I'm taking from everything that I've done. And I was thinking um, that, in fact, right, I was thinking, I don't know if you have the column book.
Might
I,
not.
it would be, well, I have an actual print version of it, but I have it online. I could send that to you too. Um, what happened was I had a newspaper column, and during the week, someone would ask me a question, or I would ask other people if they had any questions that I could answer. And so during the week, I would write the answer to their question, and it would show up in the newspaper. It was like a local town
Yeah.
newspaper.
Kind of like a Dear Abby for raising children.
Yeah,
I'm
it
aware
was.
of some of that. Somewhere along the line, I've read some of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I used them.
Hmm.
Because they were actual questions from
Yeah.
actual people. So
Right.
I haven't made stories of them yet, but that's one plan that I
Okay.
have, is to use some of those to create story versions.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, I'm going to send those to you. I'm going to
Okay.
send that column book to you.
Great.
Um, okay, so recently I sent the actual storybook thing that I'm working on to someone, and what did she say? Uh, she said that these stories, she really liked them, but they just seemed too good to be true. But the thing is about all of these that you were talking about that are in my book, Um, they weren't situations that actually happened. They
Right.
were they
Scenarios, just
that came to me, but the responses, the way that it got handled was very much, even though as I'm writing, I don't always know what the next thing is I'm going to say, right? It's like it can come, it's almost like it comes through me, but
sure.
it's always lined up with what I feel harmonious with. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
sure. And the realistic examples that you created to prove a point. And I think the
Right.
reader knows that
Yeah.
because they could relate each one of those scenarios in something that they've experienced in their working with children. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
you can't go right in and pick out of people's minds what they're thinking. So you can give them some of these ideas, and they can tag on, or relate it to something that's what I was saying, what I was doing.
Right.
Like I was saying,
Exactly.
like I like the way that you handled that situation, but I was thinking if I didn't know how you were going to go about it, what would I do if I had a kid that
Cool.
didn't want to. I was
Yeah.
thinking, I was thinking something like, well, we could put this other doll to watch your dolls or your puzzles. Was it puzzles they were working? And
Yeah.
because I was wondering how we were going to do puzzles in the car.
I
So I was
know.
thinking, let's leave the puzzle right there, and this doll will watch it. And when we come back, it won't be touched. And we'll get back as soon as we go get Uncle Louie or whatever his name was, Waldo,
Right.
and we'll bring him home, and he could help us with the puzzles too. And he'll be excited to know that we, left the puzzle, and we're coming back to it, and he's going to help us. And he maybe. So I was thinking of my own ways of.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and I think
That's,
what I was going with the doll idea was have a doll watch over the puzzle while we're gone. Maybe bring
yeah.
another one with us, just to let us know, remind us that we have someone at home taking care of our work until we get back.
Right. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah. As
but it
long
was,
the only,
I was asking questions. Would this work for you? I was being respectful,
uh-huh.
letting go of any kind of rudeness. Like some parents, and we see it all the time. You just get in the car. I don't. But why? I don't want to. I don't care what you want. That's no way to
Yeah.
interact with children. But we see it every day, and it's
Yeah.
hard. It's heartbreaking for me. And these 100 million rules here, they're all relevant to things that we should have. There, but we wouldn't believe how many folks need to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a good foundation. Or even my daughter said to me the other day, Dad, do you think that I'm a natural mother? I'm like, sure you are. You're a
Uh,
natural. Some people are lost. There's a story, I hate to bring this up on your show, but it's been in the news here. A woman here in Houston took her 5-year-old to a park and murdered her 3 days ago.
wow.
Stabbed her in the little 5-year-old in the neck, and then held a baggie over her head for 40 minutes until the child passed away. So now she's up before a judge, and it's all in the news here. It's
Wow.
heartbreaking. And the last words that the kid said, people at the park heard it, was, Mommy, I was good. I was good. It's terrible. It's the complete opposite of what we're trying to promote here. It's just so that mother needed. It's on right now. Mother accused of murdering a 5-year-old daughter faces a judge in court. It's on the news right now. I'm looking at it across the room.
Wow.
Terrible. These kind of people need this kind of education. They need to know how to take steps and how to prepare and how to stay calm. All
Right.
these things that you're talking about, they need to be motivated every day. Let go of rudeness, be respectful, make suggestions of what we could do better. instead of taking action on these negative thoughts and these negative things that are coming in their mind.
Yeah. So, wow. Last time I remember you said that this was needed in like daycare situations and
Oh,
things.
no doubt. If you ever like spied on a daycare playground, if there's not a supervisor out there, most of the teachers have no clue. They just sit and talk gossip and just hope the kids don't get hurt. But they need to be active and
Mm,
involved and not sitting. You know, they need to go help them play tetherball, or, you know, have wipies in their pocket. They help them wash their little hands when they need it. And, you know, and not be
mm,
rude. And, you know, like, you know, it's just, they need to help them get in line to share things. And, you know, some teachers, like we talked about last time, well, if no one's going to play good, nobody gets to use the swing.
right,
And then everybody
right.
loses. Even the
Yeah,
owner of the daycare who spent money on that swing loses, because they went to
right,
the effort to put it out there for the kids to use as something for their entertainment and their enjoyment, and now they're getting deprived of it because of their actions. Well, their actions aren't what we want because the teacher's not enforcing it. But the teacher has to
right.
have a foundation. And these things that you're sharing here, we can't look at all 100 of them at once. Like you're saying, a lot of them are common sense. But
Well, yeah, they are. But really, if they learn the one rule and just follow that, if they
mhm,
just follow that, it takes care of a lot of these things.
sure.
I mean, there are more things to learn, but it really it takes care of it.
I, I've been I've been studying lately the different types of people that are that are that are raising children. And where is it? I've been reviewing a book that I like right here. It's called Poverty.
Yeah,
Have you ever heard of it?
no,
There's a woman named Ruby Payne wrote it. And right there, Ruby Payne.
yeah,
And what I like about it, there's a test in here, and they want to see what level you are of how you're interacting with other folks, and you can judge it by the test. It's really interesting
huh,
that how the different people, like for example, when I owned a child care center and I was running it, I had all different kinds of clients, parents coming from different houses, you know, poor houses, rich houses, you know, middle class, and some of them went about things different. So this book has a test in it. If you had to move in one day, could you do it? You know, ooh, think about that. You know, someone told you they needed a gun. Would you know where to go to get them one? And could you actually pull it off? There's like questions like that in there to see
wow,
where, you know, where people are, you know, what they're doing, you know. And some of the scenarios are similar to what you share. They pull out a specific thing. If you only had $20 and you needed medicine and you had to cook dinner, what would you do? You know, that kind of, what
wow.
decisions would you make to make the best choices overall for your whole family? Would you get your medicine first, or not feed your kids, or, you know, would you feed them and you would suffer? You know, you would have to come up with ways to get to a solution. And that's why I like that book. It makes you think of how individual people utilize their resources. And I think the one rule gives us so many more options that it makes the menu so much more bigger of resources and options to be able to choose from, to get to the foundation of how are we going to solve these problems.
Right, right. I
I
can't,
see on I see on number 29 there, you say refocus to a respectful thought. You know,
right.
we talked about that last time. You know, bathing is only temporary. You know, in the education business, we talk about reteaching. If you have 30 kids in a room and only 20 of them got what you're saying, what about the other 10? Well, you have to review it and reteach it and maybe say it in a different way, or have one of the other people in the room demonstrate, or let them say it in their words. Sometimes when I go to a doctor, I notice that they ask me questions that they already know the answers to. They just want to see if I know what I'm talking about, or if I'm
Huh.
aware of what's wrong with me and why I'm getting these medications, or why I'm at that particular meeting with the doctor. They already know the answer. Like, you already know my birthday. You already know what medicines I'm on, but why are you asking me? So they'll say, well, why are you taking that medicine? And I'll tell them it's for my blood pressure. Well, good. They want to see that I respect and I have knowledge of what they're doing. But they go
Huh.
about it by asking, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's kind of what you're doing in a lot of ways. By the way, you work with children and parents. You have them tell you what their needs are. Then you see if you can accommodate them in a respectful way, where it doesn't have to be totally a reward, but it is. You get rewarded for your actions.
Yeah. Everybody does.
Right.
That's the thing about it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And refocusing to a respectful thought, or it's a very, very valuable tool, even just for personal reasons, for
Reminder. It's kind of
for
like rewording or rephrasing what you want to do in another way, approaching it different, coming in from another way with it, but you still want the same outcome.
right. Well, one thing that came up in one of the shows, I don't think you were on that show.
Okay.
Um, one thing that came up about the one rule is that it kind of makes harmony um, a new goal for everybody. Like, this person wants this thing and this person wants that thing and the other person wants this thing. But when you make harmony your goal, you can find it
To me, that's a strong word, harmony. Like, I use the scenario of a choir. All the people in the choir are just
yeah,
talking, blah, 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 blah. And it just sounds like noise. But once they get together and sing together and they harmonize, it sounds beautiful.
right, exactly. Yeah,
When I was a band teacher, I had one rule, and they could do whatever they want, play the horns, their instruments, talk, whatever. But as soon as I stepped on the podium, and then I still keep it around, a couple of them around here. As soon as I get the baton, and I put it up to conduct the band, then it's quiet. The instruments go up, they're ready, and we play music together. But before I got on that podium, it was a disaster. It was a big mess. But that's okay. We weren't recording. We weren't on the clock. It wasn't a performance. But they all
right.
knew, like my mom used to inspect what she expect. So that was a test. So it's
Yeah,
fun to think ahead and have skills and then follow through with your thoughts. And that's what you're preaching here. Not to go in without any ideas, or to go in empty-handed, not knowing what to do. Who would want to go to work every day working with children and not have a plan?
mm, yeah, it really helps to have it helps to have the tools, the skills and strategies. It really does.
And if you don't use them, you'll lose them. That's what I think too. You'll go back in maybe some old bad habits.
Right. Yeah, habits that won't serve you and the children you're working with as
And
well.
right, and then I think you can get labeled from that, like, oh, that teacher never tries, or that teacher never does this or does that. And the next thing you know, you're categorized as someone that's maybe not living up to their full potential.
Hmm.
That's why that's why professional development is important, I believe. That's why we have teachers.
Yeah, interesting.
If everybody knew everything, we wouldn't need teachers, to share. I don't really respect teachers that don't share their tools and their thoughts and their stuff. Like I've worked with teachers that didn't want to share how they, oh, these my tricks. I said, well,
Uh,
I always share my bag of tricks, if they work.
yeah, right, right. Yeah,
I think that's what a good teacher would do. Plus, you're going to see it from the results. I talk about the dog and pony show. Like somebody comes in to observe you working with children and you just go on a little show, the kids will snitch you off. They're like, that's not how we do it. They'll know it's not the routine. You know what I mean? Like, what are
yeah,
you doing? Why are you doing it that way? We never do it that way. The kids, they're honest. They'll tell the truth.
right. Yeah, yeah. That reminds me of one time uh, when I was teaching in East Los Angeles in a middle school. And one day, somebody from the district came in to the classroom and observed. I had no idea this was going to happen. And we were just doing what we did. And after, she said, this is the way every classroom should be. And I was like, wow. It
Yeah.
was it was very gratifying. So
And you said the key thing there. You said you did what you did. It wasn't you didn't put on a show for the visitor, nothing. Like, you just kept rolling the way you roll and it worked.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like
Well,
that.
we were right in the middle of things. So, you know,
I like to
I
hear that. That's what it's about.
yeah, yeah, that was something. So there are a few things in here which might be useful for people. What, like in the when I one of the lessons you'll see, because I'm going to send this to you. One of the lessons is about creating your plan to keep yourself calm.
Okay.
And one of the things here, number 27, is called your cue. And I became aware of this in myself. And that was that always before I would get upset, because I used to get upset, I don't anymore. That not for many, many years now. But there was always something that would happen actually physically. I don't even remember what my cue was, like whether my shoulders got tight or my stomach, or or my hands were clenching. But there's like I call it a cue that people can become aware of what happens just before they blow up, or get upset or something.
And your students can read that on you. They're putting you to that. What I've noticed with COVID, when we wear masks, we lose a little bit of what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? When people have
Uh-huh.
a mask on, you can't read them as well. I noticed
Yeah.
that a lot. I misinterpret maybe what's going on when they wear a mask. And it, it's an interesting point. What you're saying is when you're getting ready to get wigged out and lose it, the kids see that and they see your weaknesses.
Well, I never thought of it in the way you're saying. That's interesting. Same thing. There is the cue, but for me, the cue was to rethink myself, like
Mhm.
and it helped me get out of that state. Like and the thing that helped me the most was I learned from Thomas Gordon, who wrote the PET books, the Parent Effectiveness Training. I learned from him that before someone gets angry, they're experiencing some other negative thing. They feel sad, or they feel frustrated, or there's something else going on.
Right.
And if you deal with that, then you never go into anger. So
If you if your self talk is saying I'm failing here, this isn't going right, I'm failing, you're going right down the negative path.
yeah, yeah. And if you deal with whatever that negative thing is and take care of it, then you never take that next step into the state of anger.
Right.
And when I first learned about this, I thought, well, I'm going to see if that's true. And I found it was true in my life. And so I began doing that. And anger just isn't something that comes up in me.
Well,
So,
I used to be a worrier. I worried about every little nitpicky thing.
yeah,
Now I'm not saying I don't worry, but I still have that, but I try not to make that, the top of the focus. So, what I try to let go. And like you said, you used to handle things different than you do now. And we
yes,
change because of these skills that we acquire.
right, right. Yeah, that's good, huh?
Oh,
I
yes.
think. Yeah. And doable, we both do.
Yeah.
So other people can too if they want to. That's the thing, they have to want to.
Well, and that's what this is all about, sharing successes and what works.
Yeah. What one thing I've wanted to tell you, because it was like an expanding thing for me. um do you remember Batul?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, Batul came up with this idea, and I was like, wow, that is so cool, because my dealing with the one rule has always come about. In fact, I even say it in one of my slideshows that the one rule is a way to get to harmony when you're getting out of harmony.
Mhm.
But she came up with the idea that it's also a way to um, like to plan something, like like, let's say you're going on vacation and you want to plan, where you're going or what you're going to take or what you're
Like
going to do.
make an
Any
agenda.
planning, yeah.
Yeah.
And that using the one rule there can be so helpful. And I hadn't thought of that way. So it expanded my thinking on the one rule. So
It
anyway.
think it forces you to think, not to be selfish. It's not all about you and how you go about it. There's other folks involved.
Yeah.
And go to plan a vacation, like you're saying, well, we're going to go to Disney World because that's where I want to go. Well, does everybody in the family want to go there? Will everyone enjoy going there? Did we take a survey and ask them? That kind of thing. Yeah,
Right.
it's about everyone going to go on the vacation, not just dad or mom or one little kid. We're all
Right.
going together, and that's what a classroom is like. And I think
Yeah.
that's how a family works too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like my daughter's been planning dinner time, around our schedules. But we can't just say, well, they have dinner at 5 o'clock next door at the neighbor's house, so I guess that's what dinner time should be. Well, that might work for them, but maybe we have to do it different in our classroom or at our house than the way someone else is doing it next door. Because maybe there's other things in the formula. Somebody has soccer practice, or someone has a music lesson, or somebody doesn't get home from work in time, that kind of thing.
Right.
But some people, believe it or not, that they're not open to that. They think 5 o'clock's dinner, 12 o'clock noon is lunch, 8 o'clock is breakfast. That's it. Well, it isn't like a hotel, this is a family. It makes decisions and choices, and how do we go about it? Here's 108 ways right here. You're sharing with us. Take
Right.
action on that. How we're going to
Right.
take action and use these tools for everyone to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we want.
I like how you're identifying skills and strategies and results. They're all key words here.
Yeah. I think the number 50, I think, is the only cause that I have in here. And it's actually it's the cause of this whole creation that I have, from the power of respect to the one rule. This
What are you trying to say with that, the invisible root? What are your
right.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
I will tell you. When when we started our Montessori school back in 1973, and I think we started out with like 12 children or something. And some of the parents treated their children in ways that were disturbing to me. But when I thought about it, it was like, well, it's just the way it's those are really common ways to treat children. It's just that my Montessori training had made me think differently about treating children, about the importance of children, about the value of children. and childhood and what goes on there. So for a long time, I kind of tried to avoid being around people when they were interacting with children in ways that I didn't like. I didn't know what to do about it. And then after about a year, I was in a nearby town. A friend and I, my youngest daughter was a year old, or probably not even quite a year old. No, she wasn't. Anyway, she was in her first year. And my friend had a baby also. And so we went to this other town and we went to a rummage sale in a church. And I don't even know why I did this, but I was looking at this little dress for my daughter, and the tag was obviously a torn piece of like a poster, you know, that kind of thickness and shiny on.
Yeah.
And so I looked on the back. I don't even know why I looked on the back, but I did. And what it seemed to me was that somebody had taken the Emancipation Proclamation and torn it up and written on the back the prices for the different items.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, and I don't even know if that's what it was now, but that's what I thought it was. And that's all that really matters, is that's what I thought it was. And all of a sudden, in my mind, I had a name for what bothered me about the way that these certain parents were treating their children. And that word was slavery, that they were treating their children because, and legally, I found out, legally it's true, because when somebody becomes like 18 or 21, whatever it is, they are emancipated. Before that, they're not. So what are they? Anyway, so, but there was the whole concept, oh my goodness, it's time. There was the whole concept of that they're my children. I own them. They're mine.
Yeah.
I can do whatever. Anyway, so that started this whole thing. It was like, oh my goodness, how can we do this? And what can we do? What can I do about it? What can I do to make this different, to make this something that feels good? And that's what this is all about, the one rule.
Right.
And so that's my cause. That's the little story of my cause. So,
Well, and I think that's a good ending to our visit today.
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Sounds good. We don't own, kids aren't little slaves. We don't own them. They don't work for free. You know, we're all in it together, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Like instead of telling little Billy, go get me a glass of tea, I'll ask him, would you like one? I'll get one for you sometimes, you know? They're not our little slaves. They're not, you know, and we're not in charge of them. We're responsible for them. We're
Right.
responsible. It's our obligation to teach them to grow up and be good people.
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
Yep. That's right.
Well,
Oh,
tomorrow I
this
go to the
is,
dentist. See, I knocked out a tooth. I've
oh
been
my
struggling.
goodness.
It was just a cap. it broke off.
Okay.
Good, Dennis. So hey, next week it'll be back on.
Okay.
Hard to
All
play a
right.
trumpet with broken teeth.
Okay. Well, I wish
Well,
you
good.
well.
It was a good lesson today.
Yeah.
We reviewed
Yeah.
108 skills and things we need to know.
Right. Well, we got through part of it anyway.
Right. All right.
Okay. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
Karen.
Thank
See you next
you.
time.
All right. Bye. Oh.